Hey Rayleigh, and welcome back to A Message from Your Father. Now, we've been looking at the creation account. That was Genesis 1 through 3. And we saw a couple different things in there. We saw some of the main players, and we saw the main character. So again, Bible's main character is God. And even though man plays a huge part in that, we still see that we should be looking at it from God's perspective. I think that helps us understand a lot more of the Bible. So what we saw in the creation account was not only God's creativity, we saw his power, his knowledge, but beyond that, we saw specifically two different aspects that are really, really interesting of God's character. Number one, we saw his love, God's great love for his creation. And we saw that often, right? So it says it was good. God saw that it was good, and it was. But then beyond that, we see his great love, but beyond that, we also see his righteousness, so his need for right living. And he is a perfect and holy and good God. So his standard is perfection. So that seems like a very high standard, and it is. Only God is perfect. However, we are called to live holy and just and righteous lives. So again, if God has created all of this and it's good, when sin enters the world, that's definitely a bad thing. So when man transgressed God's law, or what God wanted, as a good parent does, God punishes them, and that's what we saw in chapter 3 there. So we're going to see more of that, unfortunately, today in Genesis 4 through 6. So specifically, what we're looking at today is the sons of Adam and Eve, or Cain and Abel. We're going to see Adam to Noah, the genealogy, and all the years there. And then we're going to see the account of the flood. So again, this is Genesis 4 through 6. So chapter 4. Adam lay with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, "With the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man." Later she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. But Abel brought fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it." Now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's keeper?" The Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." But the Lord said to him, "Not so. If anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance 7 times over." Then the Lord put a mark on Cain, so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain lay with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enosh. Cain was building a city, and he named it after his son Enoch. Enoch is his name. To Enoch was born Arad, and Arad was the father of Mejuel. Mejuel was the father of Methushel. Methushel was the father of Lamech. Lamech married 2 women, one named Adah and the other named Zillah. Adah gave birth to Jabal. He was the father of those who live in tents and raise livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all who play the harp and flute. Zillah also had a son, Tubal-Cain, who forged all kinds of tools out of bronze and iron. Tubal-Cain's sister was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, "Adah and Zillah, listen to me. Wives of Lamech, hear my words. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for injuring me. If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times." Adam lay with his wife again, And she gave birth to a son, and named him Seth, saying, God has granted me another child in place of Abel, since Cain killed him. Seth also had a son, and named him Enosh. At that time, men began to call on the name of the Lord. Chapter 5. This is the written account of Adam's line. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them. And when they were created, he called them man. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived 930 years, and then he died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he had become the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived 912 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Canaan. And after he had become the father of Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived 905 years, and then he died. When Canaan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. And after he became the father of Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years, and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Canaan lived 910 years, and then he died. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. And after he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Mahalalel lived 895 years, and then he died. When Jared had lived 162 years, he became the father of Enosh. And after he became the father of Enosh, Jared lived 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived 962 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. And after he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years, and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived 365 years. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. And after he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years, and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Methuselah lived 969 years, and then he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son. He named him Noah, and said, He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil our hands have caused by the ground the Lord has cursed. After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years, and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech lived 777 years, and then he died. After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6. When men began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them that they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. The Lord was grieved that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I will wipe mankind, whom I have created from the face of the earth, men and animals and creatures that move along the ground and birds of the air, for I am grieved that I had made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. This is the account of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of the time, and he walked with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, and make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Make a roof for it, and finish the ark to within 18 inches of the top. Put a door in the side of the ark, and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has breath of life in it, everything on the earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. So, again, we see this account already of a God who, knows what's going to happen. Again, we talked about that. God knowing all, and yet creates man because he loves man and he loves his creation. Does he know what's going to happen? Does he know that man is going to turn against him? Yes, but it doesn't hurt him any less. And I think that shows so much of parenthood, knowing that someday your kids are going to make their own decisions, and you may know that those decisions may hurt them down the line, but they do need to be told and corrected, but then allowed to make those decisions, because that's how you show love. But in that, God provides a way out for those that love and respect him. So with that specifically, I always forget what that time looks like from creation to the flood. And it's a long time. So I looked that up, and you can look at the genealogies, but it's 1,600 years. So 1,600 years have passed since the time of the creation to the time of Noah. And if God is all-knowing, and it says that only man, or the only thing man was thinking about was evil, that's a lot of evil. That's a long time for that evil to have grown throughout the earth. And what we don't see in this account is the depth of that evil. But we know that that evil must be absolutely terrible. I mean, knowing that, again, if God is love, he is looking for a way out. He wants his people to have a way out. So he knows that man is so stubborn in this instance that man will have more children. And those children will be evil as well, as their parents are evil. And you'll see that throughout the rest of the story of the Bible. I'm not going to go off too much here, but you'll see so much of that, of how important it is what children get from their parents. And if there is love that's put down onto the child, it's so much more likely that that child will have healthy, good, lasting relationships. And if there's not, it's so much harder for that child to have a respect for others, a love for others. And it gets dark pretty quick. Anyway, that is what I took from that. It grieves God to, even though he loves man so much, it grieves him to do these things and to correct, but it's necessary. So yeah, just know that when I correct, I'm not going to do it perfectly like God would, but I love you so much. So yeah, I think that's probably where I'll leave it for today. Know that I love you, and I'll be praying for you, and I will see you tomorrow. Love you.